My first boat mod is a 1980 14-foot fiberglass Gamefisher. It is a boat that my father and I used growing up, so it holds a lot of special memories. The mods are needed so I can better mount my new electric motor and to repair one of the bench seats that is in need of work. The goal is to better organize the boat so there is more room to walk around. What I do not want to do is drill and cut into the boat, and I did not want to add a bunch of weight to an already heavy boat. I want everything to be removable so I can take the boat back to its original state if needed. To accomplish that, I chose to work with wood instead of aluminum, in part because it is what I know, but mainly because I did not think I could build an aluminum frame that was as sturdy as I wanted without mounting it directly to the boat. Once you have the plan for the decking, you can lay out your framing. Redwood is scarce on the East Coast and very expensive, so I built the frame out of 2x4s using coated waterproof 2.5-inch screws to assemble it. The topping was cedar 1x2s. Cedar is the East Coast version of redwood and lasts forever. It worked perfectly to leave a half-inch for the hatches to lay on. I weighed the entire frame and it came in at 67 pounds. It has 4 coats of oil-based paint and all the seams and nails are caulked. In framing it, I used a 24-inch piece of 2x4 as a stop, so once it is lowered into place, it will not slide backward or forward. When installed in the boat, the frame rests on an 1/8-inch rubber pond liner to help with any squeaks and vibrations. One man can remove it from the boat and replace it. It is reinforced where the chair mount will be. I did not cover the entire middle bench, instead leaving 1.5-inch space so I can bolt up a rear section once I design it. I also added a length of 3/4-inch PVC from the battery box to the opposite side of the boat for future use. I used all PVC pipe as the inside dimension is larger than conduit. It fits tight and was caulked into place. The holes were painted with 2 more coats of oil-based paint. I used 5/8 plywood, not pressure treated, for my hatches. I was just not comfortable with 1/2-inch. That caused some plan changes later on when it came time to carpet, but it all worked out. I made a cardboard template for the front of the boat and then did the same for all of the hatch covers, leaving a 1/4-inch space on each side so that I had room to carpet over them. All of the hatches received 3 coats of oil-based paint, with the end grains getting double that. I weighed all of the hatches, and they weighed 47 pounds. The hinges, latches, and all of the necessary hardware weighed in at 4 pounds. Carpet was next. I went with the rubber-backed marine quality carpet. I got a 6x10 piece, and it was close. In the future, I would have gotten another 2 foot or so. The entire carpet roll weighed 10 pounds. I laid it out on the driveway and laid all the hatch covers on it, then added 2 inches to each side. I marked it with tailor's chalk and cut it with a razor knife. Once I cut out all the carpet, I did each hatch separately. I used carpet adhesive and stapled my way around. I started stapling from the middle first and did that on all 4 sides before going back and finishing side at a time. This allowed me to stretch the carpet for a tighter fit. I cut the corners, then overlapped them and cut diagonal for a perfect 45 and a real good look. I did not want the hinges to lay flat on the deck, but rather wanted them as hidden as possible. This meant that I had to mount them to the end grain of the plywood hatches. On the 2 longer stows, I used 36-inch stainless steel piano hinges, but on the others, I used 2.5 stainless steel hinges. To help strengthen them, I used 1.5-inch stainless steel screws coated with silicone. I drilled pilot holes for each one. Last was installing the slam latches. It was an advantage to be able to lift the mod out, as I could just mount the catch for the latch, for the hatch, and just get under and trace where to drill exactly. Before installing the latches for the final time, the holes got 2 coats of oil-based paint to protect against water intrusion. This right here is a 4-inch piece of PVC. I just painted gray. I mounted it with the Fernco coupling to the deck because that's the anchor stow. The rubber provides a little bit of, gives it a little bounce, a little cushion when I bring it in, but it also keeps, hopefully, all the dirt and that comes in with it, keeps it contained in there, and I can remove it and clean it. This right here, I just didn't like the bounce on how that goes, so I made this removable just with galvanized pipe, so at least when I'm driving, going over rocky roads and that, it adds a little stability and takes some of the bounce out of that electric motor. in this stow here, this is where the main electrical is. I mounted a battery box to the side wall in there to keep it. This is all the extra wires. I've got my switches in the stow right in front of that. Haven't labeled the LED light switch yet, but you can see they all come on. Nav, bilge. I put the accessories on a separate switch so it wouldn't drain the battery when the boat was sitting. But what those got ample extra wire in there so I can pull that switch panel out. Everything else is fairly secure. Ran it all straight from the switch panel, well, to the fuse box here. All labeled, mounted. There's the circuit breaker for the electric motor, and there's the negative bus bar. Everything. This is where I'll keep some of the standard stuff in there, like the throwable preserver and that type of thing. Everything, every bit of the electrical, I went a little different on there in that I got the self-contained waterproof positive and negative. I ran 200 feet of that, or just under 200 feet of that, plus another 100 foot of miscellaneous wire. But everything's got heat shrink. It is it's heat shrink, and then I taped up over it. It's all mounted securely and wired in place. I installed a bilge pump, fish finder, navigation lights, anchor lights, plus LEDs in each stow, plus on the deck. I want to say thanks for indulging me and watching my video. I'm looking forward to getting out on the water. I'll send you the test. Big shout out to Michael Lopez, Fireant Fishing, Anthony Jones, and a myriad of others. I enjoyed your sites, tried to pay it forward. Any questions anybody has, just post it in comment, and if you give me a like down there, I'd appreciate it. I put a lot of work into the boat and into this. Labor of love. Thank you very much.